What's going on, everyone? So the Boston Celtics are looking ridiculous. I mean, they just won by 51 points against the Indiana Pacers, put up 155 points in a regular season game, not an all-star game, a regular season game. That is absolutely ridiculous. And you look at the Boston Celtics right now, they're 4-0, and they look currently far and away the best team in the league. Right? Like Denver's looked really good too. Don't get me wrong. But you have this Celtics team that has a Kristaps Porzingis just added, Drew Holiday just added. You lost some key pieces. You lost some key components. You would think that, okay, maybe it's going to take them a little while to kind of get in the flow, get in the rhythm of things, right? You could kind of give them a little bit of a pass if there was early struggles. And no, they have been absolutely off to the races. Right? I mean, it's been very surprising at how just dominant of a fashion that they're winning most of these games. Right? Again, you beat the Pacers by 51 points and set records and all kinds of stuff. And then you have like the Heat game where you ended up winning by 8 points, right? And then you followed that game up with just another dominant fashion win against the Washington Wizards, right? Where you win by like 19. Again, Washington, I get. Even Miami, you can make an argument that they've had some struggles, right? They haven't played these like super elite teams yet, which I understand you can make the argument like, okay, well, how good are they really, right? When you're playing basically teams that have the worst records in the league and you're beating them by 20 points. But that's also what they're supposed to do when you're this elite juggernaut of a team, or supposed to be this elite juggernaut of a team. And you look at the Celtics team, I mean, they have, in my opinion, or at least you can make the argument, the best 1 through 5 starting five. Not saying that they have the best point guard in the league, the best shooting guard, but I think as far as like complement, skill set, the type of player at each position, right? Drew Holiday being that 3-and-D style type of playmaking point guard, Derek White, again, all defensive type guard that can defend multiple positions. You got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. They could even go a little bigger if they need to and like take White out of the equation, put in like an Al Horford, right? I do worry about some of these guys and injuries as well as, just a lack of depth. They don't have like that blue chip depth that they've had in the past. Obviously, injuries are an issue and a concern for every team in the league, but it's just when you're this top heavy, right? If you have a couple key significant injuries or guys miss any significant time, it could become a bit of a problem. But it's crazy to see how well they've looked and fit together. I mean, even Kristaps Porzingis has been it's like he's been there for years at times. And look, it pains me to say it because, as many of you are aware, I am a Laker fan. I have my Laker channel, As It Stands Lakers. But if I remove my Laker fandom and just get back to being just a student of the sport and a basketball fan, it's kind of hard to deny that the Boston Celtics look like a real team. Like they look every bit of that threat. Now, they do have some tougher slated games coming up. Not a ton though, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if in their next 10 games, the Celtics only lose like 1 or 2, right? So they have the Brooklyn Nets, which they should win, but they are at Brooklyn. Is that the game that just like randomly they lose, right? They should win that game though. But then they got like the Minnesota Timberwolves. To me, that's going to be an interesting matchup just because of the Timberwolves size. Right? Do they go with an Al Horford and a Kristaps Porzingis? Like, how does that work against a Karl Anthony Towns, a Rudy Gobert? Then you got the Sixers. How does that look against a now no James Harden type team? but they have a bunch of wing depth that you can throw at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, guys that can even defend White and Holiday. Could they kind of put some pressure, make a bit of a struggle for the Boston Celtics? And all three of those games are road games. But then you get back home and you got the Nets again, the Raptors. Raptors have kind of been a little hot and cold, right? Same thing with the Knicks. Then you got another 4-game road trip. But even that is like the Sixers, again, which could be tough. So you got 2 road games against the Sixers. You got to imagine that they probably lose at least one of those. Same thing with the Raptors, although I think that they could beat the Raptors twice. But then they got the Grizzlies and the Hornets. The real matchup will be against the Bucks, but the Bucks have kind of had their struggles, right? Like, a lot of teams haven't looked completely and utterly dominant, right? Like, the Warriors, they're 4-1. The Nuggets are 4-1. I know teams like the Mavericks are 4-0. Not really sold on the Mavericks, to be honest. I think that they start coming to reality. I think also a lot of it has just been Luka just basically hitting ridiculous game winners and stuff. Sixers are 3-1, right? But I still kind of believe that like the Celtics and the Bucks will eventually be just head and shoulders above everybody when all is said and done. I know the Bucks are having their struggles, but I've kind of called that and said that like I think that they regress a little bit as far as the standings go. I don't think they'll be like 7th seed like they are right now currently, but it's also been 4 games. But I do think that may end up being in that like 3, maybe even 4 spot in the Eastern Conference when it's said and done. But the Dame trade was more about the playoffs and the ability to win in the playoffs. But I think the Celtics will be far and away the number 1 team and very likely the entire league, right? Like Denver still looks every bit like the championship team that you would expect Denver to look like. So to me, it's kind of those 2 teams right now that have looked the best. Like the Warriors have looked good, but it's also, again, kind of been heroics rather than just like dominant fashion wins. And then, Pelicans, not really super sold on either as far as like legit contenders. But the Celtics, I mean, last year, look, they were top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. I think they are that again this year. And my one concern with the Celtics, though, is the playoffs. Right? Like, I still have concerns about their mental toughness. I still have concerns about, them showing up in the playoffs in big games and big moments. More so like Jason Tatum. Like, is this the year Jason Tatum kind of turns over that leaf and finally starts being that guy that doesn't just completely disappear in big moments and is able to close games and doesn't have 30 through 3 quarters and then just completely unplayable in the 4th? Jaylen Brown, is he able to kind of step up and, be a little more consistent in the playoffs, learn how to dribble better and key moments, stuff like that? Right? How do some of these guys like, Kristaps Porzingis, who not like he has a ton of just deep playoff runs. But you look at guys like, Drew Holiday, he's won an NBA championship, so I'm hoping he kind of rights the ship. But I still think that the lack of Marcus Smart, especially in the playoffs, is going to be a concern just because you don't have that voice, that leader, right? Like Drew Holiday, I think can help a lot in that regard and kind of alleviates a lot of that. But like, Marcus Smart kind of earned that, right? He was Mr. Boston, Mr. Celtic. Also coaching, right? When you have a roster like this that's this good, during the regular season, you're going to win a lot of games. But how does it look once you get to the playoffs where coaching actually becomes more of a factor and that sort of chess match starts playing out and you need, a coach that's making the right adjustments and, a guy struggling, like, let me kind of try to like throw this out there or whatever, right? Is the coaching going to be there when you need it? So there's still definitely concerns about the Celtics, but they look tough. They really do. They look like a tough team. And I can't wait for the Lakers Celtics NBA Finals. I really can't wait for that. But that was my one little Laker bias plug, right? But no, in all honesty, I can absolutely see the Celtics representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. I believe that they should. I really do. Like, I think the Celtics match up beautifully against the Milwaukee Bucks and basically every team in the Eastern Conference. They should make it out, personally. I would be very surprised if they don't. And then it's just like, who do they play in the West, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think the Celtics look like the clear-cut best team in the league right now? Do you think it's still early to tell? Do you think, whatever. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.